Yo, it's your boy, Wonder. We back. Got my man, my coach.
Coach Myles.
Coach Myles, and he a coach at Towson University. So we're going to talk about how COVID impacted the season. So, Coach Myles, tell us how that season when COVID first hit, when conferences happened. Like, what really was happening with y'all?
Crazy thing is, we got the text the conference championship was being canceled as I was getting out the shower, putting my suit on, getting ready for the game. 2 hours before the game, we're going through our normal pregame rituals. Pregame meal, had a quick meeting, went over a quick film. Players typically go to their room, relax for an hour, and get taped to get ready to leave for the bus. So the bus was scheduled to leave for about 20 minutes before the season got canceled, and it was crazy. We kind of didn't know what to do from there. We kind of met as a staff in the lobby before telling all the girls, tell them what we're going to do and how we're going to tell them and what's going to happen. So we brought all the players down to the lobby, and of course it was waterworks from the jump. Yeah. They kind of saw it on social media before we even got a chance, so they knew the conversation. We actually had to almost drag some players out their rooms to be in the lobby. A couple of our players were really, really upset, like especially a couple seniors. They were heartbroken. I mean, we had just won the championship the year before, chance to go back to back. That's all we've been talking about, is going back to back, and that opportunity is gone. And for them, it's gone forever. Like they never get the chance to play those games. There's never a chance to defend their own title like the seniors. So it was kind of heartbreaking.
So did someone call call y'all head coach, or like how would that like?
Yeah, so when that stuff goes on, like obviously it starts with the commissioner and it goes to every school's athletic director. So they had a conference call that morning, and then once it goes from the commissioner to every school's athletic director, and then the call got passed down to the head coach. Then it got passed down to us, and so on. So.
Dang. So with the seniors, how did that affect them? Like, so I heard like they got an extra year. So eligibility, right? Or
no, that's actually incorrect. So those seniors, if you were graduating in 2020, those seniors did not get an extra year of eligibility.
Dang.
The people that got a year extra ability are the ones currently playing. So if you are, it doesn't matter your class either. If you are a freshman, sophomore, junior, senior, the 2020-2021 season for basketball did not count towards the eligibility. You still have, if you're a freshman, you still have 4 more years. If you're a sophomore, 3 more years. Junior, 2 more years. Senior, you actually get an extra year. So we actually have some players that right now, like, they completed 4 years here or are graduating in a couple months, and they're actually looking to transfer, only because we don't have scholarships available, but they're looking to go in the portal because they have an extra year of eligibility. Why not try to use it somewhere?
Right. So you get an extra year plus a grad year?
No, not a grad year, but they're going to use it as a grad year. So they're graduating, so now they're a grad student going for their masters while still having that extra year of eligibility.
Okay. So going back to the prior season, how was that different from pre-COVID? Like, was it like the players had to have masks on, like on the bench, mask on the court? Not talking about COVID, just COVID not.
Oh, this past season.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean that was crazy. I think we got all the players here by September, and by October, getting everybody acclimated. Everybody had to be in their own isolation. So had a quarantine. We call it like TU bubble. Right. Kind of our own little bubble thing going on. And we tested 3 times a week prior to the season. Once the season started, we tested 4 times a week, sometimes 5, 6, even 7 times a week. Seriously, there were some weeks that we tested 9 times a week, like 2-3 tests a day, depending on who we were playing, what city we was going to, and what the requirement was from that state. Because every city and state had different rules with the COVID testing and stuff. Yes. So I mean, it was crazy. Masks had to be worn on at all times in the building, obviously. What else crazy stuff? Oh, we had these little devices called Connect-On devices. So they were our contact tracing. So anytime we had in the building, we had to go to our athletic trainer, players, staff, anybody had to wear it. So they gave you like a wristband, or some girls put it like in the bra. I put mine in my sock. A lot of players put theirs in the sock because it's a contact tracing device. So if you had one and I had one, and both of ours would be blinking red right now, because if it's blinking red, it's saying, I am within 6 feet of you, I am too close. If it's blinking, you're too close. So it was kind of like a visual monitor, like, hey, we're too close, we need to back up on the sideline a little bit. So that does, though, after we wear those for a day, we would turn them into our athletic trainer, and she was able to contact trace, like the device. So like my device would say, okay, I was next to Wendell I was within 6 feet, and it only blinks within 6 feet. I was within 6 feet of Wendell for 28 minutes. The CDC guidelines is if you've been with somebody positive within 15 minutes of 6 feet, you're close contact tracing, you should be quarantined.
Right.
So that's how we determined like if you were quarantined. So like, we had a staff member test positive.
Okay.
Turns out, her contact thing traced out to a lot of people.
Right.
She's a staff member. She talks to all her players, talks to the staff. So back in January, we was all in quarantine for 2 weeks.
That was probably hectic. So how did that situation go? When you guys in quarantine, like I'm guessing the games got canceled.
Yeah. So we had 4 games canceled during that time.
Okay.
One actually did get rescheduled, so that was good for us. But the girls had to get moved out of their apartments. They have roommates. They got moved up. They were forced to move out of their apartments for 2 weeks, for 10 days actually. I'm sorry. They were forced to go into quarantine isolation. So they basically had their own dorm by themselves, every single one. They were not allowed to leave for nothing except for a 1-hour workout by themselves in the gym by themselves. No coach in there, no strength conditioning coach, no athletic trainer. We kind of had to like reserve the gym time. Like, hey, this is a quarantine workout. We got a kid coming in here from 1 to 2. She's in quarantine, so no one else can be in the gym. All the equipment has to get washed and wiped, sanitized extremely well. Like hand sanitizer wipes, the floor. Everything. So yeah, they couldn't come out their rooms for except that 1 hour. Their breakfast, lunch, and dinner were delivered to them.
Okay.
We provided that, and a couple of them, ordered DoorDash, Uber Eats. Right. That's what they do. They got to get their normal meals. But that's what their life was for about 10 to 14 days.
Okay. So how was the games during this past season with COVID and everything? How did that work? I know it was limited people, obviously. So
yeah. So
like the benches were spread out. Was like
benches spread out. Masks had to be worn on the bench at all times.
Okay.
Masks did not have to be worn in the game though. So once you check in, take your mask off. Give it to one of your managers. Put it on your chair.
Yeah.
Once you go in, you're good. Come out, mask got to go right back on.
Okay.
The basketballs again are washed. So like, how the ball will go out of bounds. They say a random person couldn't touch the ball. If they did touch that ball became a dead ball. So there would have to be 4 to 5 game balls ready at all times, because how the NCAA did it was they ranked everybody by tier. So tier 1 personnel was like staff, players, anybody immediately touched close to each other or like within the game. Tier 2 might have been like the scoreboard table or like, video people, pitchers. Those people can't touch the ball because they're not getting tested as well. So if they touch the ball, so let's put you as if you're tier 2, I'm tier 1. And I'm playing, and the ball rolled out, and you touched it and tried to pass it back into me. One, I would grab it and just put it down because we're not going to use that ball no more. That ball's going to have to get washed like in the back before it gets brought out, and there's another ball coming from the scores table, like a brand new ball ready to go.
Okay.
So that was a little crazy. But the games, the competition intensity was still intense. It was the same. Level of play didn't drop off because of COVID, but there was just a lot of protocols that you had to go through. We turned down some shoot arounds. We couldn't practice in certain gyms because we didn't want to go in other people's facilities. You just don't know where COVID is at all. That's the craziest thing.
So how was practices during the COVID? Or do you guys even have practices, or how did that?
We had our normal practice, but I was limited on what I was allowed to do or bring in. So normally I have managers, scout guys. I have a lot of people like support staff to be able to help the team. I was only allowed to bring in about 3 people, 2 scout guys and 1 manager, and I had to depend on them to stay quarantined safe, stay safe, consistently getting tested. Basically, I know you guys want to help us, but you can't put our season in jeopardy.
Right.
So I chose 3 people that I had complete confidence in I could do that. So that kind of made practices a little different. Practicing with the mask just made it. I know it was a long adjustment period for our girls because basketball is an up and down sport. You're sprinting, you're turning, you're jumping. So it's like I can't breathe, but we got to be kind of COVID police. We're like, mask break, pull your mask up, your mask up.
So they had to practice with mask on?
Practice with the mask on.
Okay. Dang. So they had to run with the mask on, they had to do the
sprints,
all that?
If we were inside, the mask was on. The only time they did sprints and the mask wasn't on is if we was outside. We was on the football field because we could be completely spaced out. A football field with 15 girls, you could be nowhere near each other, be running sprints.
Okay, so I know you're a coach. So how does recruiting, how does that impact with COVID? I know you guys can't really fly or go drive.
We haven't done any recruiting since last year.
Okay.
After when COVID originally happened, March 2020, NCAA kind of put down a recruiting shutdown period. It's called a dead period.
Okay.
No recruits can come to your campus and visit your campus, and you can't go see recruits.
Okay.
So like everything else in the world at that time, recruiting basically became Zoom calls and virtual tours. We sat on a bunch of Zoom calls on the computer with recruits. we would share the screen, show like a virtual tour, show pictures, show video of like how we play. This is our play style, rather, because recruits couldn't come to the games, recruits couldn't come see the campus, recruits couldn't come see their dorms. So like we're having to like sell the university and our program without that person touching foot on this campus yet, which was very, very hard. I mean, imagine trying to grab a kid from anywhere, like South Carolina, like a stud athlete, wants to go somewhere East Coast, up north East Coast, and would consider Towson, but because they never got to step foot and maybe they didn't like the way it looked on visual, maybe doesn't commit to us. So that's the biggest thing with recruiting. I mean, and then also like with this, another additional part with recruiting is social media. That became another outlet for us to recruit. So following recruits on social media, following them on Twitter, what they're up to, so that way it's easier to gauge in conversations and Zoom calls. Like, yeah, hey, I saw you watched that movie last week. How was that movie?
Right. So do you feel like has it been harder to do it like during COVID and pre-COVID?
I'd say it's been a little bit harder. I think it was an adjustment period for sure, but I think, we have a good staff that we kind of figured it out, our own little workflow. So we kind of, we got some signees. We got 6 kids coming in this year, so it worked for us at least.
Right. So with COVID going on, how has it really impacted you from coaching?
Impacted me from coaching?
Yes.
I mean, early on, especially like what we missed from this last summer is like the skill development. I love developing our young players, getting them better, developing their skills. So, but for the longest time, I can only be so close to them.
Right.
So, instead of me playing defense one-on-one, I'm trying to instruct like, hey, like, no, you got to bend your shoulder a little different, or you got to, go a little harder. You got to put this much force into you, like just little things like that. Like, definitely an adjustment period.
Okay. So we're gonna wrap this up.
Okay.
I appreciate you, Coach Myles. If you know,
For sure.
CAA
Towson
champions.
2018-2019 CAA champions. Come check out Towson Women's Basketball.
All right. Make sure you like, subscribe.